Welcome to the presentation on the pronunciation of Pennsylvania German, which is also called Pennsylvania Dutch, which is also called Deutsch. Now, we're not going to look at all the tiny details about pronouncing Deutsch. We're just going to look at the most important and characteristic differences between Deutsch pronunciation and English pronunciation. Let's get started. The first sound we'll look at is spelled A, and this makes the sound aw, a bit like the English word bought. Aw. A good example is the Dutch word dag, dag. That means day. Aw. The letters I, E make the sound E, as in the English word feel, feel. Or as in the Dutch word, the Pennsylvania Dutch word, feel. That IE makes the sound E, feel, E. By contrast, EI makes the sound I, as in high. For example, the Dutch word ei, which means an egg. I. The spelling ER makes the sound ah. There's not really an R sound in it at all, or sometimes you'll hear a very, very slight R sound. But for the most part, it sounds like when you're at the dentist and the dentist tells you to say ah, or at the doctor's. A good example is the very common Pennsylvania Dutch word da, which means the. Da. Once again, the sound of ER is ah. Now, the letter O usually makes the sound as in hot. Ah. An example is the Pennsylvania Dutch word hot, which means, it doesn't mean hot, it means has. Hot. Hot. O makes the sound ah. Now, two O's make the sound O. They never make the sound oo, but rather the sound O, as in boat. For example, the Dutch word Spruch, Spruch, that O sound in the middle, Spruch. And that word means language, Spruch. AE makes the sound ah, as in our English word air, ah. The Dutch word, for example, is that, which means will be, that, ah. Now, double E, it makes the sound A, as in hey. It never makes the sound E. Instead, it makes the sound A. An example in Dutch is heren, which means to hear. Heren. Now, G is a bit of a tricky one when it's between vowels. So a vowel is a letter like A, O, U, or I and E. And when a G is between vowels, it usually doesn't sound like a G. It usually sounds either like a W, a W, or a Y, yeah. Now, after an A, O, or U, the G usually sounds like a W, as in a word like away. For example, we've got the Pennsylvania Dutch word dal, dal. That word means days. You might remember we saw this at the very beginning. We saw the word dog, which means day. To make the plural, you tack on this little E, but because the G is now between vowels, it now says w, daw, days. Now, that G between vowels, if it follows an E or an I, it sounds a bit like y, as in the English word, a bit like the English word buyer, with that y in the middle, buyer. For example, reya, reya. That R-E-G-G, in this case is two G's, but they're both between, well, the combination GG is between vowels. Reya. And that means rain, reya. So not regga, but reya. W is also a bit tricky. A lot of times it's pronounced like the sound V, our letter V, or like our letter W, W. It kind of depends on the region of Pennsylvania or even the speaker. So sometimes it sounds like very, our English word very, or the Dutch word V. And sometimes it sounds like the W in a word like warm, or the Pennsylvania Dutch word warm. It depends on the speaker and the location, whether W is a V or a W. Now, the letter V sounds like the English letter F. For example, the word feel. When we say that same sound, feel, in Dutch, it's spelled with a V, feel. And the word feel means many, feel. The final sound we're going to look at is the CH sound, which makes the sound H, as in the name of the classical composer Johann Sebastian Bach. A good example of this is the Pennsylvania Dutch word Buch, which means a book, Buch. So it never makes the sound ch, or for the most part, it never makes the sound ch, but always the sound h, Buch. That's it for today's presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you've downloaded the PDF that accompanies this presentation, and that will lay out the format for you, the information for you all in just one page, and should be really helpful. Mach's gut. See you later.